Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel, and here's a headline that I sure as hell didn't expect to see. It's right on your screen from Crypto News. Former Ripple executive facing DOJ charges. So these are criminal charges from the Department of Justice. And this is from former Ripple executive Michelle Bond. And funny enough, she was formerly the head of government relations at Ripple. The head of government relations, and now she's been criminally charged by the government, for which she was in charge of having government relations when she was at Ripple. The universe is hilarious sometimes. So I'm going to cover this and then a couple real quick stories on different topics right before this, but then we'll get into the meat of this because I just find this story fascinating. But before going further, I do want to be clear, I do not have a financial background of any kind. I am not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who enjoys making YouTube videos about crypto-related topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. First, I thought I'd share this because it's worth pointing out poor behavior. And I don't know for sure if this is just through ignorance or if there's some sort of malintent, but it's worth warning the rest of the community of what seems to be a scam here. There's a post from my fellow XRP YouTuber, Crypto Eddie. And she shared this screen grab from the Fiat Leak account on X. And I'm sure many of you are familiar with Fiat Leak. If you've forgotten the name, or maybe you're not familiar, if you look at the screen here where I'm moving my mouse, screens like this you've probably seen shared before, showing all sorts of quick action having to do with XRP specifically. And Fiat Leak supported something that is highly questionable, if we're being nice. And so Crypto Eddie wanted to point this out and did this morning and wrote the following. The same group behind the paid crypto newsflash articles with everything from Wells Fargo to JP Morgan being the vehicle to buy rewards token CFT has worked their way to Fiat Leak. Today, the same read what you see tubers also falling prey, promoting the scheme. Stay vigilant. So the CFT or CTF token, just be careful out there because, and it's kind of disappointing because Crypto Newsflash, like, they're not one of those outlets that literally post nothing but trash, but I don't know what the hell they're doing. I've covered some of their articles in the past because some of them are legit. I don't know if they just have a bad author or a couple bad authors. I don't know. But you know, they put out some stuff. I haven't highlighted them in a while, but they've been putting out some stuff that is just like absolutely trash. And so that's what she was referencing here when she says, you know, the same group behind the paid crypto newsflash articles. I don't know what the hell they've been doing. So just stay vigilant out there. But this is not what it seems. And then there was also this, the Documenting Ripple account posted, just in, Bank of America added as a Ripple partner on Ripple's website. And I saw this and I kind of roll my eyes. It's just, do people really not know? I mean, if they don't, if it's just ignorance, okay, but then wouldn't you want to verify this is something that's new? Because the truth of the matter is, Bank of America has been an official partner with Ripple for, I don't know how long, I don't remember exactly, but probably the better part of a decade at this point. This is not news. It's just a fact. And so Attorney Bill Morgan, to his credit, reposted this and said, this misinformation has to stop. Bank of America has been listed as a RippleNet he wrote committee for years. Yeah, they've been a RippleNet partner with Ripple for years and years and years and years. And every now and then, it seems like every year or two, there's new articles, somebody discovers that they're a partner, and then it just gets blasted all over the internet, on social media, and crypto media sometimes picks it up, and if they don't do their homework, then they think it's brand new too. So just thought I'd highlight this. Now, as far as the main story, with this former Ripple executive getting criminally charged, well, it's Michelle Bond, and she joined Ripple half a decade ago. Here you can see a story, October 22nd, 2019, from Cointelegraph. Ripple adds 4 members to regulatory team. And I'm just sharing this to quickly set the table here. I think this is the relevant portion. I don't need to read the whole article. Here they write, per an October 22nd blog post, Ripple has onboarded 4 new members, and one of them, of course, is Michelle Bond, to its global regulatory team based in Washington, D.C. Michelle Bond will also sit on the board of the Blockchain Association. And here you can see that's Michelle Bond on the right, and as I mentioned at the outset of the video, she was the head of government relations, and this is an official Ripple video from the official Ripple YouTube account. Head of government relations. Apparently those relations with the government didn't last so long in a positive manner because the government is not relating with her in a way that she would very much care for, I presume. Coming after her with criminal charges. And so it turns out, and I knew that she left Ripple years ago. And, you know, we're not privy to that. People change jobs, whatever. And so I was trying to figure out how long has it been since she's left, because I couldn't remember off the top of my head. And through my Google search, Crypto Eddie's video actually popped up where she highlighted that this happened in October of the following year. So she was with Ripple for about 1 year, and that was it. So we don't know why, but okay, people change jobs all the time. And shout out and credit to Crypto Eddie yet again, because the reason I even first came across this story is when she shared this headline, Bloomberg covered it. And so that's when I was like, wait a minute, Michelle Bond? Ooh, what the hell happened here? And so she wrote, oh my gosh, with a little emoji with the hands covering the eyes. She wrote, OGs in the XRP community know who this is. Yikes. And yes, indeed, I knew right away who this was. And I was very surprised to see this. Oh, and by the way, actually, I'll mention this now. Somebody wrote, El Diablo Dictator wrote, this explains quite a lot. When she left Ripple, it was all a bit strange. And it could have been strange. I don't know. I never thought anything necessarily was weird. I don't have any inside information, of course, but she was only there for about a year, so okay. But a Crypto Eddie responded to that and said, she was also one of those, in quotes, those that wiped her LinkedIn of all Ripple work history. Now, that's interesting. Why did she do that? And so if you look here in Crypto Eddie's video from, this video was from, let's see, get the exact date, October 29th, 2020. So this is several years ago. Even here, so she had already left. There's no mention of Ripple. Normally you don't scrub that. She had just left, and even then it was scrubbed, so far as I can tell anyway. Because that's a screen grab from a video from almost 4 years ago anyway. So I don't know what that's about. Now, funny that she wants to scrub any sort of record of being with Ripple, but I'm sure that at this point Ripple probably wouldn't mind. Probably wouldn't mind that. It's, you know, and this, look, to be clear, I don't see any reason, I have no reason whatsoever to think that this should, you know, cast any sort of negative light on Ripple. I'm only saying that because if I'm Ripple, why would I want to be associated with any former employee who has charges drawn against them? It's not a good look. But I have no reason to think Ripple certainly did anything, you know, wrong here. Of course not. And so here we have the headline from CNBC. Former FTX exec Ryan Salami, I still don't know how to say it. Is it Salame? Ryan Solame? Ryan Salami? Either way. Salame? Hashtag nailed it. Anyway, seeks to void guilty plea. Says feds reneged on deal to end probe of his partner. His partner is Michelle Bond. That's right. The former FTX executive, Ryan, we're just going to go with Salami because I think that's a funny way to pronounce it. Ryan Salami, former FTX exec, waiting to go to prison for, I believe it's 7.5 years is what they said in this article. His girlfriend, Michelle Bond, in trouble also. What? Like, what? I don't know if it's a witch hunt or not. Here's I'm going to give you the specifics of what happened, but knowing that Ryan Salami would be associated with somebody that might do something bad, I'm like, well, you know, I don't know what's true for sure. I don't have the other side of the story, but let me just report to you what is publicly known at this point. But it's like, okay. Anyway, Ryan Salami, a former top lieutenant at the failed cryptocurrency exchange FTX, asked a New York federal judge Wednesday to void his guilty plea to campaign finance and money transmitting crimes, saying prosecutors are reneging on a key element of his plea agreement. Salami's lawyers in a court filing said the Manhattan U.S. Attorney's Office, in an effort to get him to plead guilty last September, told the attorneys and Salami in April 2023 that they would stop investigating his domestic partner, Michelle Bond, for campaign finance violations if he pleaded guilty. Considering Salami's manifest desire to protect Bond, who is the mother of his 8-month-old child, Salami responded by agreeing to enter into a plea agreement, the filing said. Yet the government failed to abide by its word, recently resuming its investigation into Bond and pursuing an indictment against her, defense attorneys wrote. Okay, so look, I'm not familiar with this type of stuff, but I have to sit here wondering, why didn't you get that in writing? Is that not something that okay, government, you're making a promise, and I know you're very trustworthy, government. We as United States citizens, we broadly trust everything that you do, of course. But might you think in a situation like this, maybe get something signed, because obviously I'm being facetious. You're just going to trust that the government, they're going to abide if they actually said that? Couldn't you get some sort of actually legally binding assurance that there's an end to this portion of the investigation if that's what they're stating they're going to do? Wouldn't that be prudent to do, maybe? I don't know, I'm just spitballing here, guys. I'm just throwing out a little brainstorm session. I don't know. You guys tell me. Anyway, peace continues. The lawyers asked Manhattan U.S. Court Judge Lewis Kaplan for either an order setting aside Salami's guilty plea on the basis of the government's breach, or an order that prosecutors abide by their promise not to pursue criminal charges against Bond. Nikolai Bias, a spokesperson for the U.S. Attorney's Office, declined to comment on Salami's filing. Salami is due to begin serving a 7.5-year prison sentence on October 13th. Salami also was ordered to pay more than $6 million in forfeiture and more than $5 million in restitution. In a social media post about the filing, Salami wrote, quote, "It's all true, but I just made a court filing I'm pretty nervous about because I know it means the most powerful body in the world is going to come at me and my loved ones again, but I'm hoping it encourages more people to be honest and tell the truth and expose un-American," actually cut off here, I got the actual thing pulled up here, "expose un-American tactics. I hope it helps at least one person in the future. The justice system is fragile, but so important." End quote. Salami was not a cooperating witness in the criminal trial last fall of his former boss at FTX, Sam Bankman-Fried, who was convicted of a massive fraud and conspiracy and sentenced to March in 25 years in prison. The charges against Salami stemmed from his involvement in a multi-million-dollar campaign finance scheme during his tenure at FTX. And this is where we're getting to the true meat of it, but we need to just properly set this up. So CNBC did a fine job on that. Bankman-Fried was allegedly also deeply involved in the campaign finance scheme, but prosecutors opted not to pursue similar charges against Bankman-Fried after he had already been convicted by a jury on 7 counts related to securities fraud and money laundering. 3 other cooperating witnesses who testified against Bankman-Fried at trial and who pleaded guilty are awaiting sentencing. They include Caroline Ellison, the former CEO of Alameda Research, who at one time dated Bankman-Fried. Also convicted were former FTX engineering chief Nasad Singh and Gary Wang, the co-founder and chief technology officer of FTX. Singh and Wang will be sentenced October 30th and November 20th, respectively. Ellison's sentencing has not been scheduled yet. Now, as far as I think there might be some more specifics in this other article. If not, there was like a, oh yeah, here it is. I think this is it. I think this is okay. So I think this is the part I want to highlight. Salami allegedly arranged, check this out, allegedly arranged a $400,000 payment from the exchange, that'd be FTX, that was entirely used to fund Bond's unsuccessful campaign. So she was actually running for Congress a few years ago. So $400,000 from FTX, of course. So anyway, sent that. which ended during the primaries phase of the election, so she didn't make it very far. After hiring a political consulting firm, Bond was advised that she could self-fund her campaign, but these funds had to come from her own pocket. Bond ended up receiving $400,000 as part of her consulting agreement with the FTX exchange. However, she did not perform any services in exchange for the aforementioned sum. And so what they're charging her with basically is the accusation that she got this money for some alleged work that wasn't work. It was just a facade so that she could fund her campaign. That's the meat of it. That's ultimately, in a nutshell, what's being claimed right here. Happens to be a former Ripple executive, which, you hate to see it. So I'll let you know as things develop here, but that's not a fun position. Now, I can't speak to whether or not any of this is valid. She certainly deserves to share her perspective and have her day in court, which unquestionably is going to happen here. So I don't know if the charges are legit. I mean, the company she's keeping, highly questionable. The salami guy, it's a fine meat. If you go to a deli, don't mind that. This particular salami, maybe not so hot. The company you keep, that's questionable. But then there's also the government, which, if you're familiar with the SEC, you might think, maybe they don't always do the best stuff. Maybe they don't always operate in good faith. So I won't pretend to know. I'm just reporting the facts that have been dispersed to the public at this particular juncture in time. You guys let me know what you think, though. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.